But like, I need to talk about this as well. Like, this is not the first time where Stephanie White has pulled Caitlin Clark out of a game when early on when she's cooking. It's not the first time. Like, Caitlin Clark cooked early in this game. And we've got to talk about it. We've actually got to talk about it because I have never seen a single game where like they now have this thing where if you look at the rotations the last couple of games, Caitlin coming off after 3 minutes is their rotation. That is their rotation. Caitlin coming off after 3 minutes. Every time. Caitlin coming off after 3 minutes. That's what they do. That's what they do. Aaliyah coming off after 3 minutes. And I get it. You're trying to limit Aaliyah Boston's minutes. But I'm sorry. As somebody who has suffered with knee injuries, playing for 3 minutes, sitting for 6 minutes, and then going all out is bad for that. It is not good for Caitlin's injuries to play 3 minutes and sit her ass down and then try to come back on the floor 2 minutes later. They're trying to stagger rotations so that Caitlin and Kelsey aren't off at the same time. Well, Caitlin Clark's minutes have started with a 2 most games. Caitlin Clark's minutes start with a 2. Why not play both of them? How about, here's a crazy story. How about you play both of them 6 minutes to start the game, and then whichever of Caitlin and Aaliyah is playing bad, or Caitlin or Kelsey is playing worse, you then take off after 6 minutes. And then after 8 minutes, you bring on the other one. So it's a 2 minute rest, just a small one. And then to start the second quarter, you start the one who just got subbed on, and you leave them off for 2 minutes. You then play for another 2 minutes, and then for the last 4 minutes, or you rotate for another 2 minutes, and for the last 4 minutes they play together. You've given them what? You've given them about 6 minutes rest in the first. You've given them about 5 minutes rest in the first half. You are playing them on average 30 minutes. You've given them 5 minutes first half rest, and you haven't pulled anyone out after 3 minutes, and you haven't pulled 3 starters. By the way, that is the Steph White rotation. This is not a. Oh, Caitlin Clark was like Steph White did it today. This is genuinely the Steph White rotation. Is that after 3 minutes, she is going to pull 3 starters. I've never seen anything like it before. I have never seen anything like it. It is one of the craziest things I've ever seen. Could you imagine? Even in the regular season, if, like, we all know with the rotations, I think Luka is in JJ Redick's rotations. I think Luka plays all the first quarter, and then he subs off for 4 minutes in the second quarter, or just to start the second quarter. And I think he plays is like 4 minutes off, 6 minutes on, and 2 minutes off to end the second quarter, something like that for Luka. But like Caitlin Clark's rotation gets pulled after 3 minutes, and Caitlin Clark is a notoriously fast starter. She is a rhythm player who is a notoriously fast starter. And on more than one occasion, she has started super hot, and been pulled. And then when she gets pulled, the Indiana Fever lose a big lead, and she comes back on, and they're nearly down double digits with no momentum. This one's on Stephanie White. Like, this is not the first time this has happened. This is maybe the Washington game where she gets subbed off. She subbed on. Or she still has 6 minutes. She gets subbed off, after 5 minutes of the game? And she gets subbed off for 6 straight minutes after that? This is not the first time the Fever have been completely in control of a game and have decided we are going to sub off Caitlin for a decent chunk of time for no reason. I don't think Steph White understands anything about Caitlin Clark as a player. I don't think Caitlin Clark scores in bunches. I've never seen a player assist in bunches, but she does. I have never seen anyone like Caitlin Clark. She is an indescribable player. Everything, when you are coaching, for better or for worse, there's going to be a lot of bad with Caitlin, but there's going to be so much more good if you let her be her. For better or for worse, everything you've learned about coaching, you throw it out the window. Lisa Bluter literally 180'd on everything she knew because she had Caitlin Clark. It took her 2 years. It took her 2 years to eventually figure out the best way of doing it. But like, it's not an easy thing to do. It's a long-term thing, trying to figure out if you have Caitlin Clark. But I'm sorry, like, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. Subbing them off to 3 minutes when you have a rhythm player. Would I trade AT and Bonner for Caitlin Clark? I know Steph White would. Like, this is a situation where you have to understand what your player is. And if Caitlin Clark's not healthy enough and she has to sub off to 3 minutes, she shouldn't be playing. If Caitlin Clark needs to be subbed after 3 minutes, she should not be playing. Could you imagine the Sparks doing this? Could you imagine Paige? Could you imagine if Paige Bueckers had 3 assists and a bucket after 2.5 minutes and her team was up 8 and she got subbed out? And by the time she came back on, they're down 7 points. They won a 15-2 run when she's off the floor. Could you imagine? Like, could you imagine if they did that? And this is more than once now. They've played 8 games. Caitlin's played 7. In 3 of 7 games, they've subbed her off within 4 minutes. In 2 of them, it has led to the Fever being completely in control of games to being down. They were up 13 when Caitlin went off against Washington after 5 minutes. They were tied when she came back in. I have never seen in my life a coach do this twice. They've played 7 games. 7 games they've played. They've done it twice. She's done it twice. If Caitlin's too injured that she has to get subbed off after 3 minutes and she has to be subbed, by the way, there is no muscle injury that benefits from long periods of sitting in the bench. There is not. If she's going out for treatment, cool. There is no such thing as a muscle injury that benefits from sitting on a bench with your hands in your head for 5 minutes. That's not a thing. That is not a thing. There's no muscle injury that you can play on that gets better by getting cold. That is not a thing. Like, it's at the stage where I'm like, I genuinely think, take a random person from the crowd, the drunker the better, and tell them to go coach. They might be blackout. Get someone to get blackout drunk and pass out on the bench. Fuck it. Get Giddy on. Unban him from WNBA games. Get Giddy on to coach by sleeping on the bench like he did at that one game, and the Fever would have probably have a better chance of winning. I mean that. It's ridiculous.